then I guess we can call ourselves to a meeting now, right? 7:20. So who wants to take notes and take over for our next meeting? I will be in Denver for our next meeting, and I may not be able to join.
What is the date of that meeting? Would that be the?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have a conflict on the 22nd. I have to work that evening up in Winooski.
Yeah, that's part of our agenda too, is deciding if we want to change our meeting cadence. So it could be next month or it could be the month after.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because looking ahead at since there's a little time to kill. The fourth Wednesday in November is the day before Thanksgiving, and the
Mhm.
fourth Wednesday in December is Christmas Eve.
Mm.
So we got a little bit of a pickle. I think if I remember right, last year we canceled December's meeting just because. So I don't know. I can't remember what the other schedules are out there. So I don't know if we want to move it up, if we want to do Zoom only, if we just I don't know. I just figured I'd get that information and give it out there to us.
Yeah.
Only other evening meeting that I have right now on my schedule is the board meeting for the family center. And that is. When is it? When is it? When is it? Let me find it. Family center. That one got moved there. Yeah, the next one would be. Sorry, it's jumping. Yeah, we changed it. We changed the date a couple of times, so. But it's usually on a Tuesday. So if we choose a day rather than a Tuesday, I wouldn't have a conflict.
But we also need to check if we change the day, we then need to check with the schedule.
Yeah. Is there a day that works better for you, Krista? An evening that works better than another?
I mean, typically Wednesdays are okay, but October is pretty busy. I'm working on another project and we're doing listening sessions, and they tend to be on Wednesday evenings. Just through the end of October, though. So that is not, so yeah, if we do every other month, then November Wednesdays are fine. I mean, we could look at, so the Thanksgiving, that's the week of with the 26th. But if we skipped October and did November 19th, does that work for folks?
I think we just have to find out if there's another meeting that same night that would be
Oh,
competing.
right. Got it.
But we can put that as our tentative for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
November 19th. Yeah, that's as of right now. It looks good.
So I can take the notes and then be on deck for that meeting.
Thank you.
I believe I created a new document, so I can do that right here. So November 19th, and then I can check to see if that's available. Does that work for you too, Brian?
Yeah, I don't book too far out unless it's a doctor appointment, but usually
Okay.
evenings aren't terrible. Thursdays, it's just usually it guarantees that I won't be able to make it in person, because usually I'm coming from a board meeting, so I would just be on Zoom, but I'm on Zoom most of the time anyway.
Okay. Thank you, Krista.
Sure.
So that moves us into our public comment period, if anyone has any public comments for today.
And just so you guys know, Jim is here too. You can't see him because
He's
he's
not talking yet.
They
Hi, Jim.
the room around, so.
The camera did pick him up for about 20 seconds and then.
Do you have any public comments for us, Jim?
No.
No, Jim has no public comment.
We had great public comments when it was just us with no
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 recording.
recording things, yeah. We were having a great conversation. Sorry we missed you guys. So.
Yes.
Anything worth taking notes on, or just general catch up?
No, yeah, just
We
generally.
found out how Jim came to
Okay.
Bristol.
Got it. Got it.
You think I'm funny, but I talk funny.
There you go. Or you think we talk funny.
All right, then we'll move along. Do we have addition of items to the agenda?
I think the only thing is I sent an email out late. I did my homework very late and sent it out this afternoon. I did a remix of the, last month we had talked about the AI,
Mhm.
summary of the survey. And so I boiled it down a little bit more. I can share that on the screen so that you guys can see it and we could talk about that.
Yeah, I think that would fit in our old business about just this the
Okay.
survey and the select board report.
Okay,
If that
we'll
works.
just stick it right in there. Yeah, perfect.
That way we can get if we approve our minutes, we can then move right to that. So
Sounds good.
any questions or changes to minutes from our August meeting?
No, not on my part.
Everyone approve?
I approve.
You wouldn't believe I actually had those open in my computer that whole time.
I had
Just
that,
say,
I had that document up the whole time.
yeah, just saying, oh, I'm gonna do them, I'm gonna do them, I'm gonna do them, and then I finally did, so. Priscilla, I think you might have had a comment? Oh, just approving?
Yep, just
Yeah.
approving.
Thank you. Did you have any questions since you weren't there with us, or?
I don't think so.
We didn't decide, make any final decisions on anything because you weren't there, so, yeah, let's go right into continuing to discuss the survey then, and, so what Darla said is she went through the CVOEO survey and used AI to kind of help create, some summary items, and we talked through that, and then we were talking about making that as a report to the select board.
Yeah, so I will share this in just a minute.
You're in the meeting, yes, you are.
I'm in the meeting, I think.
Will it let you share?
Oh, let's find out. Let's see if it'll let me share.
I do have it by email if that's helpful for you at all.
Looks like it's gonna let me share.
Yeah. Oh, so,
There you go. So
thank you.
there you go. So I had said in the last meeting that I would try to put this together in something of a report form that we could give the select board. And knowing, I mean, my first go through of it was like 9 or 10 pages or 11 pages or something like that. And I know, the board is interested, but they don't, I don't know that they have the time, certainly not in a meeting, to go through 11 pages of documentation. So I kind of boiled this down. I kept going back and squishing it and squishing it and squishing it, and this is what I came up with. So I used the executive summary. So if you guys want to just read through that and tell me if that makes sense. And again, in full transparency, AI did that for me. I did not write that.
You were steering,
I was asking the questions.
right? You're
And then I just kind of went through and took some highlights from each of the questions that was asked within the survey. And so those are sort of the broader survey topics, and then I just picked out a couple of points. Ooh, sorry. Go down, 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 down. Down, down, down. Oops, challenges and needs, and then talks about when people feel valued, their 20-year vision. And then again, this is a summary that AI did, sort of, Bristol is clearly a place with heart, vision, and resilience. but achieving true equity will require intentional action, not just goodwill.
Yeah, sure.
And Energy Committee meets the third Wednesday.
The third Wednesday, okay.
Yeah.
And then. There's a couple of possible next steps that we could recommend, that's what this is the part I think we need to talk amongst ourselves, if this is what we want to, put forward before the select board. And then I did put the link to the full survey, if someone wants to go back and say, I want to know more about
Mhm.
whatever that bullet is, they can go in and look up the whole survey and have all of that information.
And is the thought that we would just send this to the select board, or that someone would go to one of the meetings to present it?
I think we could do it either way. I mean, I think it might be nice to have one or two of us there to sort of talk about the survey.
Mhm.
To let them know that this is, while the survey was sort of a broader audience, these are Bristol only. Questions, I didn't put that in there, I could certainly add that. But it might be nice to ask for 10 minutes or so on a,
Yeah,
on a, agenda, and I could come up with a little PowerPoint or something that sort of puts that together if we choose to do that, and if they choose to have us in.
That was a good survey too.
It was.
Very interesting, the responses.
It was good to, yeah, it was good to hear, it seemed like maybe from a pretty good breadth of people, because
Mhm.
there were it was electronic as well as they had paper surveys for
Right.
people too, so it wasn't just one sort of audience that has access to this kind of stuff.
and that it wasn't all just glowing reviews, some people put, you know.
I
things that
I
they were
don't
not.
feel,
Which I appreciated, that helped me feel that it was real, not.
I
There's
agree.
too many surveys that I think people just take that are, you get such a very select group of people
Yeah.
that take surveys in the first place. So.
Right. Or that the survey's put together in such a way that it's only gonna give you positive outcome, or you're only gonna answer in a certain way.
Mhm.
I felt like this was pretty neutral and pretty, and the responses were pretty broad.
The benefit of having people at Middlebury College, that this is their job.
Exactly.
This is what they're experts at.
Yeah,
I'm wondering, would it be good to do something like choose a date of when we want to try and have this before them, so that we could then decide to give ourselves, a week or 2 weeks where we're looking at it electronically and adding comments or changes that way, or
yeah.
do we even want to make it, give ourselves, a month or 2 months until our next meeting and then finalize it?
I think that makes sense. I mean, I've been looking at it for a while, so I would love to have other eyes on it.
Mhm.
And I just sent it to you guys this afternoon, so again, my apologies for that. That's just where.
No
For like-
worries at all.
But how do you guys feel? I mean, just giving it a once over, is it too, my worry was I squished it down too much. Is it too little information? I'm just trying to think of my time on the board and what I had time to digest,
Mhm.
I'm just trying to
Mhm.
all of the things that come in and what you have to read and understand. That's
that-
kind of was where I was coming at, but
And then we're not necessarily taking to them asking for actions immediately. It's not like, so many other
we're just
things
making
on their agenda already.
suggestions. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
I think it looks really good. I don't think it should be much longer, because I think you're right, Darla, that folks' capacity is to digest and do something with this information is probably pretty limited. I like the next steps section. I am wondering a little bit about the first one under quick wins, hold community listening sessions indoors and outdoors. I don't know if you remember. Well, I guess let me back up. I'm thinking if we were to go, I think it's great to like maybe identify when we could go to a select board meeting and share the results, and then maybe some things for for the select board to consider as recommendations. But I was wondering, with that first bullet, for example, it's sort of vague, and should we offer recommendations that are maybe a little more specific? And I don't know if anything specific in the survey is tied to that first bullet, if you remember.
I don't think there was anything that specific, except for the fact that people want to be heard, and they want to be.
Mhm.
So that's where I came from with that particular suggestion.
Mhm.
Also thinking, I was kind of hoping Porter might be here because she's doing some listening sessions. And I'm wondering feedback on some of the work that she's doing via the library too.
Yep.
So it kind of sounds like we agree, Krista, that a little more definition of that would be good.
Mhm.
For other brains looking at this is good.
Well, and the AI, because these work came out of the AI too, right?
Yeah, some of them did, and then I reworded them and squished them around, and then, yeah.
Because I mean, part of the listening sessions could also just be finding other ways to make sure people know that this committee is here and that we're meeting and that they can come and provide thoughts during the meeting.
Yeah.
I
did, sorry, finish talking about this and then I'll mention the other thing. I'll write it
Is
down.
it okay? Is it okay, Darla, if I make a comment on that first bullet, just that says more specific, if
Absolutely.
possible? Okay.
And if you have a more specific idea, put it right in there.
Okay. Well, one thing I'm wondering about that one also is it could be that their recommendation is just in general to have community, opportunities for folks to get together and talk about different things. But it could also be a recommendation to the select board, and I think they do this in a lot of cases already, but like reinforcing that when there is, a community decision to be made, like, how there's information sessions before the police budget is voted on. But like broadening out to make sure that before there are big topics coming before the community, whatever those topics may be, that maybe one of our recommendations is to be sure to provide opportunity for community conversation, if possible. So I guess that's a little bit different than, that's more of like a directive to the select board as opposed to our
Well, we
board.
could, like a secondary bullet, like,
Mhm.
I was looking at more sort of taking the temperature of the community with that,
Got it.
but we could certainly say, and maybe that's, maybe it's a subcategory, right? That we say community.
Well, and would part of this also be that, we're bringing these to the select board, maybe we ask them, pick one or two things off of this list that you want us to then focus deeper into. And that's
Mhm.
when we actually get into like, what do we recommend for listening sessions? What do we recommend for, sharing clear information about support, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
we
I
could
think
come,
that makes sense.
and then we could also come with ones that we want them to kind of tell us what they feel is the next step.
Yep.
And maybe they'll tell us, pick your own, but
Yep.
that way we kind of, because I still feel like we're kind of in like a little vacuum bubble, right?
Mhm.
I feel like we're
This is
still feeling our way.
Yeah, I'm excited that this step takes us out of that and, I don't know, validate all the talking that we've been doing about things.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know that we would, I mean, the small grants piece, I should have edited. Offer small grants because we don't have the funds to offer, but maybe, we do have a grants manager, perhaps
Right.
he could make some suggestions of, what grants might be.
Seeking out. Yeah, seeking out grants to support that work.
I was just talking with Nancy Luke. I don't know if you guys know Nancy or not. She has ALS, and she was talking about how difficult it is to get from her house just walking down the street. I mean, Krista, you know that with your daughter, just but she still uses a rollator some of the time, but she's also in a wheelchair quite often now, and she's just going down her is literally dangerous. Like she's almost tipped over. She can't go. So the fact that she can't leave her house by herself it feels like an equity issue to me,
Mhm.
you know, that kind, and just getting in and out of some of the stores on Main Street is really hard. She's
Yeah.
deadbeat these days.
Well, and
but
sidewalks is one that's already on the select board's radar,
is.
so what can we do to then help provide more?
Mhm.
Them, as they look at sidewalks, to understand better what people need for
Right,
accessibility.
and to give an example, like this is, you know, this is an issue for people with mobility, you know, with mobility challenges
Mhm.
or, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's not just safety and convenience, it's.
They just had a big survey done Monday night.
Yeah,
They didn't include what you're talking about.
right, because I'm sure it just wasn't on the radar, so that's was something that we can help bring to the table.
Mhm.
I was wondering, are there any organizations that assist people that are disabled? Like specifically come out, like Meals on Wheels and that type of thing, that would help people with disabilities get someplace? Is there anything like that available?
There's like through Medicaid, there are rides available, like you can call for a ride somewhere, but that doesn't get you
No.
to your mail, yeah, to the store or something like that. And there are like some places that will build a ramp, you know, sometimes you can apply for, I can't remember, there was some. I want to say it wasn't Odd Fellows, but it was an organization, you know, like a fraternal order that used to do some things like that from time to time, but it's not as accessible as you might think.
I wonder if there's any way that you could have a survey of how many people fit into this category. So to go from there, say it's 10 people, and then there's an opportunity to have someone take care of these people, volunteer. But then again, you have to worry about vehicles, how are they outfitted?
Exactly. It's not easy to get, yeah. Yeah, it's not easy to transport someone who also then needs a wheelchair or needs something else. Yeah.
That could also help in determining what exactly is needed,
Mhm.
you know, if we know who needs the support and what type of.
And I think it's a broader community than we might think, because it's not just someone that would use an aid, it's also, you know, someone who has any type of mobility
Mhm.
issue, you know, I mean, like,
Walk over 10, yeah.
well, even, I mean, I had both knees replaced in the last 2 years. For several months, it was hard for me to step even up on a curb, you know, that kind of thing. You know, people that have back issues, I mean, I think it might be a broader audience than what we might think.
Right.
even.
And we know Bristol
You know,
overall has an aging community too.
Right,
So
right.
it's
We
something that
already.
we also will see a possible increase in the town.
Mhm. And I know there are a lot of people who choose to walk in the road instead of on the sidewalk
Yes.
because the road is level, you know, and and some of the sidewalks are, you know, depending on where you are.
Mhm.
So anyway, yeah, I think it might be a broader audience than we think. So I think maybe a survey might be a great idea.
Is without violating HIPAA laws, could Mountain Health maybe give you an idea of how many disabled people are on the rolls there, patients?
It's something.
I would just. Sorry,
Go ahead.
didn't mean to jump in. I was just gonna say, I think that that really the idea is to have a community where everyone can access all the spaces that they want to access as the same as everybody else. And I think, you know, folks, we are all going to age, sadly. And in that process, most of us will find that we have reduced mobility at some point in our lives. So I think that
Yeah, I'm
that it's
already,
beyond identifying, you know, just the number of folks that might currently, you know, I think about at the high school when we were having issues with the elevator, it might directly impact, you know, a few students that have mobility issues in that moment, but it might also impact the custodian who needs to carry lots of stuff upstairs, or the teacher who's got their materials that needs to get to the classroom on the second floor, or, you know, the student athlete who, you know, breaks their leg or something like that. So I think the idea is to create the space with the eye for it to be welcoming of all people, and sidewalks are one piece of that, but very few of the businesses on Main Street are accessible. That don't have accessible entrances, or if they do, they're in the back. And then once you get into the space, because spaces are small and, you know, old infrastructure, they're very hard to navigate. So, you know, I think whatever support and education can be offered to businesses to encourage them to try to do what they can, given the space they have, to make our businesses more welcoming, is a great goal to have.
Yeah,
A lot of that would have to do with the expense of putting ramps or whatever.
Mhm.
I know when they
Yeah.
did the sidewalk project.
We're talking about grants, maybe there's some kind of grant that would help the downtown business.
Exactly, right, right. And it is a shame because we're so short on space and Main Street is the way it is, because in Virgins, the way they have
Yeah.
that the sidewalk that just is the slope up to all the businesses is brilliant, but I don't think we have the,
I don't think I have the width for that.
no. Yeah, yep,
Which then creates another issue.
Right, yeah.
Which is also, which still amounts to accessibility of things.
Mhm.
Hmm.
there was something else, Darla, that I was wondering about on the summary. Oh, under longer term, I wondered if the third bullet, create forums for civic dialogue, is sort of the same as
Yeah,
the first one, maybe.
I was probably looking at this too long and thought it was a really good idea and added it in there twice.
I'm wondering if the third, under the quick wins, if the third one, share clear information about supports, does that fit, Brian, with what you were kind of mentioning the other day?
The Hello Bristol is, well, it's kind of combination of both. We could do, if we're gonna do some sort of, welcome to Bristol, Bristol welcomes all, or whatever kind of campaign that, I was also suggesting at the same time, we should probably have big picture thinking we should maybe have a dedicated email of some sort for people that, want to discreetly submit, ideas or whatnot. But also if we had, some sort of, I don't know, cheap business card or something that, could put a number on. And then as a larger thing, what, like, I know some organizations like CSAC occasionally will put out something with their number, but also other emergency numbers and other, groups, and um,
And email.
we could tailor it as needed, maybe even partner. I think Trevor mentioned something about maybe partnering with the liaison with the police department. Come up with an idea and create a small campaign around it, something tangible that we could do.
And it fits with the welcome bag that the Porter does. One of the things that's in there, one, because I got one kind of late, was like emergency contact numbers and town numbers and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But having one that's more related to, the equity side of things, who can someone reach out to if they have questions around accessibility or
Disability or town clerk's office, town clerk's phone number, and just some basic stuff that people could use that might it might take a little bit longer to normally find. And if there's the budget for it, put it on a magnet so they can put it on their fridge so that it's always there. Just a thought.
So did you say, when you first started talking about a dedicated email, did you mean that for the equity committee that?
Yeah. Unless the select board shoots it down, says they want it, filtered it specifically, things of that nature go strictly to them, but
I would be surprised if that was there.
I don't know. I thought that if there was a separate email, it might be, as long as we're checking it regularly,
or even
might
if it
be a
goes-
little less intimidating than going straight to the board.
if it somehow maybe went to like the town administrator and then they could handle, getting it to us. Yeah, so there's some logistics to think about, but I like that idea though. Just giving another avenue for people to reach out.
Mhm.
And for us to continue kind of letting people know that the committee's here and we're actively seeking feedback.
Well, and the other thing is, like, when we post stuff to the front porch forum, we don't necessarily have to use our personal emails, considering the environment is getting a little more cantankerous out there, that if we have rather than, not saying anybody's getting attacked, but it could potentially, get, nasty emails if they filter that all to one inbox. okay, delete. Oh, we probably should send that to the police, whatever.
They did change front porch forum recently though, so it does, if you do a reply, or at least when I've done a reply recently, it pops a little box up. So I don't see I'm sending it to their email, but it goes
They
to their
can
email
see.
address. And then if they choose to reply, at that point, it's tied to their email. But
I wasn't quite sure how all that worked. I usually just
yeah,
leave, drop the option off, just posting it to the forum and,
yeah. Okay,
So we can marinate on this a little bit more and,
yeah.
talk via email if we need to, but feel free to make suggestions. In the document, I set it up so that you could do that, and then we can finalize it next time we get together and then
Sounds fun.
make a request for some time on the agenda at one of the upcoming select board meetings, maybe
Yeah.
December.
Yeah, I kind of like that timing. Finalize this in November, select board in December, and then we meet again in January.
Don't forget they start working on the budgets and
Yeah,
arts. Time consuming.
yeah, they'll be meeting every week.
All right.
All right, so that's that.
I was looking for, while we were looking at the summary that you did, Darla, and thanks again for doing that. I was trying to find, oh, maybe it's on the town site. When Tabitha Moore worked with the different town officers, and she did some equity work, and it included some things about updating some of the language, the forward facing materials in each department. And I wondered if that was captured anywhere, and maybe I can just look around to see on our committee's page if I can find that information, because we might want to add it to this. If we're gonna present to the select board, we might want to include that too, if there's anything there that we would want to add to our recommendations. So I'll make a note that I'll bring that to our meeting before we decide before we finalize this, to see if there's anything from that work that she did that we would want to include.
I know that as things came up, when I was on the board, we were making changes to language, but they
Oh,
may
that's
not
great.
know that there was I'm not aware if there was like, we're going through these documents, in such and such a manner. I'm not sure, but I changed some language as it came up,
Yeah, okay.
I think that on the agenda, then that takes us back to talking about our meeting frequency. Which it sounds like we're all kind of in agreement of every other month,
every other month.
starting with November. We just have to figure out the date in November.
Right. Would a Thursday work for people instead of a Wednesday? I feel like we've had this discussion before.
Thursday pedestrian.
Thursday's the pedestrian committee. Okay.
I was gonna say, the hub board meets on Thursday, but it's the first Thursday of the month, so that wouldn't actually matter. I guess never mind.
And does the bike group meet every week, or are there other Thursdays? Are there Thursdays that they're not meeting that we could choose?
The bike head group, they meet once a month,
Right, tomorrow, 4:30.
the 4th. So if we went to the 3rd Thursday, we might be okay.
So that would be the 20th.
In November,
That works for me.
it works for me. We'll just check the town calendar.
It's our town page. I just wondering if it would show on here. Yeah, I don't know. Would it be easier just to reach out to the town administrator and find out which days are free?
It might be.
Rather than trying to figure it out on our own.
I can do that. And is that would I just send a note to Sharon as opposed to is she the keeper of the?
I think so. If she's not, she'll let you know who is.
Okay. She's clerk, right?
Yeah.
And personally, I'm okay with, if we switch to even our regular cadence, if we switch to like every third Wednesday instead of every fourth or something like that. Um, depending on what's available. The Mondays is the only one that I usually have to watch out for, because that's when I have Mountain Community Health meetings pop up there on different days of the month, so. Okay,
So then are we thinking just for November, I'm asking Sharon just for the third, that November 20th, but not necessarily for the third Thursday
think-
moving forward?
Forward, we would want to do the third Thursday to not be on top of those holidays that come up.
Okay, so the 20th is the third Thursday, and that's what we're gonna shoot for moving forward.
I think so, right?
Okay,
I think, yeah, let's
Does that
start,
work, Brian?
start there.
Brian's checking
Okay.
his,
Let's see, third Thursday. the fourth Thursday is usually Addison Housing. Third is got a meeting till 5, so that's not bad. And then the second Tuesday is the CSAC board. So I'm sorry, what was it again? Third? Yeah, third should be fine.
yeah. Okay,
I don't want to overload you either, Brian, so if it's too close to another meeting, or if you figure it out later, let us
Oh,
know.
I've already somehow managed to box myself into a corner. There's one Wednesday every other month that I have like 5 or 6 meetings that day that are all timed, almost timed perfectly, except for I might have to leave one like 15 minutes late, but show up at the other one 15 minutes late kind of thing.
I had one of those a day like that last week. I was like, oh my God, I've been sitting here since 8 o'clock this morning and it's now 7 PM. I'm like,
I'm mostly laughing because that's how my work day is. So
right?
that's why
Mhm.
it
I think this is with
happens.
the CSAC board, with the search for the new executive director winding down. My schedule should go back to normal here shortly.
But we'll give it a shot then. And if we have to readjust, we'll readjust.
Okay, so I sent a note to Sharon. I'll let you all know what she says. And then we can hopefully at least confirm the November 20th.
And then last meeting, Darling, you'd mentioned possibly doing like a calendar invite, just to help us
Yeah.
keep on track a little bit.
Yeah, once we firm up what date we're gonna do, if it doesn't live on my calendar, it doesn't live in my brain.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
great, if you guys don't mind, I'll include you all and I'll send you a Zoom link, a Zoom calendar invite. Or calendar,
Amazing.
I should say, because I don't own that Zoom account. But
Awesome.
yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
Then I think we were on, unless there's more for that, I think we were I'd put on discussion, we talked about, the form of the committee and recruitment as to whether we wanted to continue with the training note taker and facilitator every month or every meeting, and what we want to do about recruitment, since we don't seem to be getting any bites.
Well, one of the things I said I would do last time, and I did do it, I just didn't tell anybody on the meeting committee that I did it, because God knows why. But I did reach out to see if we could get a space on the green for Harvest Festival, which is Saturday. And Meredith did say we could have a space in the rec tent, which is sort of the town of Bristol tent, if we wanted to have a table there. I don't have the capacity to be there till later in the afternoon. I'm doing the ALS walk in Burlington in the morning. But I don't know if anybody else had time or energy, and I don't know what do we have for people?
Yeah.
Mhm.
The equity committee, I'm not sure. I think we need to, I don't know if we're ready for a public event
Yeah.
yet. I don't know how else.
That's where all that swag that I was talking about earlier would come in really handy.
I think we need to think about that a little bit, and maybe, maybe we could write a little grant to meet repeats or something and ask for some cash to, have some swag or have some materials. I mean, we could print materials, I'm sure, through the town, but,
Mm.
we might,
I wonder, yeah, I love the idea, and I think you're right. We're not quite there yet, but are there any other So it sounds like the rec department's there, and then there's lots of other probably, or at least
And-
some social service agencies that are there, right? Sharing what they do. Yeah. So what we'd really be doing is just less about letting folks know about the resources that are out there to support them and more about the fact that we are a committee. Yeah.
And, well, because we started out with a table full of people.
Yeah.
I still see Betsy every now and then.
So maybe that's another piece just to add. We want to add that to our report to the select board then in December is. We can continue what we've done so far and just put another couple posts, see if we get a vote or something. But then in December, say we need support from the select board to get. Another member or two.
Yeah, I don't know that they have any way to really support, I don't know what they would do to support us other than
All
to,
I can think is
mention it at their
their
meetings.
visibility, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, they could mention it at their meetings that we're
Even
looking
if
for
it's just in the
members.
meeting notes or agenda that we were asking for.
It's funny because there have been a couple of people that have responded to things we put out. And then when we follow up and say, oh, here's the meetings, you can come, they're like, yeah.
I had two a while back, and
Well, we
it's
don't-
probably a double-edged sword. Again, not to harp on the current political environment and whatnot out there, but you would think that it would those get fired up about this kind of stuff that some would step up. While I understand others like be kind of hesitant to stick their neck out and like, I don't need to get in trouble. What exactly is this group?
Yeah,
There's a lot of people involved in very specific things too, though, right now. There's so many groups. There's a group that just meets, on what is it, every Friday and has signs and flags at the corner. And then
they've been
there's,
there for years.
there's several other groups that have popped up or just, well, they were around before, but now they're gaining a membership and so action groups that are more specific to
Right.
the climate, not just equity. I think that's.
Yeah, but
I
we're
think
looking at it as a
we're struggling
broader,
against that, yeah.
yeah,
Because we're not trying to be political about it, we're trying to build an equitable community.
Right.
Ensure.
and the many definitions of equity,
Yes.
yeah.
It might be interesting to note what the select board
Mm.
envisions for this committee
Mhm.
to ask them. I was just looking at the town website, and there is the Declaration of Inclusion. That's right, listed right under the select board. And then below that, it talks actually about the work with, I think Tabitha's consulting company is called Intentional Evolution. So I think this is what the select board worked on with her, but it's that they developed the driving equity toolkit to help inform the town's decision-making process. But I wonder, um, what does the select board envision and how could this committee be helpful?
Well, we don't have an actual liaison anymore, right?
We don't,
Right,
Still,
right. We started out with that. Yeah.
but maybe that's
The town liaison, at least one more committee member and an alternate.
ideally, yeah.
And then the way we're going, I might even push that we consider getting two alternates just because everybody's so busy that
Mhm.
if we're already going to be, we have already at a deficit to have a little bit of a bench in case. Like I know, my health is getting, it's not so great. I just got diagnosed with stage 1 heart failure. So,
Oh.
so for the next few months, I'm gonna be going through a bunch of medications and whatnot. I'll do my best to be as active and whatnot, but if something
Mm.
changes, we'd be down to three.
Mm. Sorry to hear that, Brian.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you have your Superman shirt on, so I hope you're channeling.
Doc says the cardiologist says we're attacking it early.
Okay.
Good.
He's hoping it's manageable. He's like, with some changes here and there, might even be reversible, but he didn't want to. Oh, don't worry about it. It's like, dude,
Mhm.
take it seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd be willing to create a flyer of some sort for the equity committee. Maybe just having something that's visible that people can see, put it at the library, have it here. wherever, and people could, contact.
Kind of like the paper surveys we did, but just a flyer
Yeah,
instead.
yeah, we can have it.
And if we had a dedicated email, it would be perfect.
Great. Well, I know, Ian had talked about that. Ian's, I know at one point was, hoping that like select board members would have a town email instead of having to
Mhm.
use their personal one. I don't know where
Mm.
they got with any of that, but I can reach out to Ian and ask that question.
Um,
I mean, we could create an equity committee Gmail. That would not be hard to do.
yeah,
Right.
Let me touch base with Ian and
we
see,
just need to know what
Like,
rules we need to follow as far
yeah.
as saving data, sharing it to, making it accessible to the town.
Yeah.
Administrators and things, yeah.
Yeah, which makes
That's
it-
why my preference would always be if they had a.
Oh, yeah.
Ones, but that's, information security is part of the realm I work in, so.
Right, it's more of your forte.
Yeah, the idea of sharing things through Gmail and stuff gets under my skin
Oh,
sometimes.
yeah. No, I know. When I was on the
Mm.
select board, I created myself a Gmail account, so it
Yeah.
just didn't go to my personal
Yeah.
one.
And that's just the basic level that you can get to, and that wouldn't, if that's acceptable, just what are the rules we need to make sure we're following with it?
Right, so
'Cause then we can
yeah,
all have access to that same email.
right.
Okay.
So we'll see, yeah, I'll ask Ian about that. And I'll create a flyer and send it out. My Canvas skills are pretty good.
You're putting a lot of.
I'm a newbie, but I'm learning quick.
Hey, give me another year and a half. I'll have should have my degree. And I'll be at, what do you call it, Adobe Master, but I'm still in the
Oh.
stages of all that. That's, what I'm working, what degree I'm working on.
That's
Cool.
cool. Is that like graphic design or?
I took advantage of their design and digital media degree.
Mhm.
I had a bunch of course credits from when I got a business degree at Champlain eons ago.
Mhm.
So I'm just doing one course after the other, taking summer courses, doing one at a time. Seems to be
Yeah.
about all the bandwidth I've got these days.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. I figured it was something where my back is messed up as it is. Working a traditional, 9 to 5, sitting at the desk or whatever is just not
Mhm.
gonna happen. So this, working graphic design for a couple hours, take a break. When it's
Yeah.
insomnia, I can get up, 2 o'clock in the morning, work for an hour or two.
Yeah.
But we'll see where it all goes.
Then I guess that puts on new business, but I thrown on there just recommendations for action to the board, but we've really already talked about that, it sounds like. So I don't know if we want to add to that. Otherwise, we're moving towards our adjournment, and we usually have a little bit of a like announcement period at the end if we want to, but what do you guys think for today? It's quiet.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, I don't have any.
I'll share what I shared here when we were on the wrong Zoom. Because I'm on the board at Mountain Community Health. If you're interested or you know of anyone, they are looking for more board members also.
Sorry, I can't help you.
Specifically people that have a very strong finance background. So, yeah,
I
hard to
wonder,
find.
I wonder if it might be, I'm trying to think of if we had someone come in to present to us to talk about what they're hearing in the community, like
Mhm.
having Bruce come in or having,
Hmm.
having like, AZ came that time and talked to us about some of the stuff they're working on. And I'm just wondering, are there other folks, like maybe
Hmm.
Matt, come in and say, these are the things, broadly,
Mm.
that, these are the issues we're hearing, so that we're not trying to decide what the town of Bristol needs, but we're hearing from other people in the town of Bristol.
Especially if we're not just interested in only people that live here, but people that come here to work and play also. And that includes, healthcare as a business and,
Yeah,
okay, I can put on to reach out to them. The CEO's out of town right now, out of state. But we have our annual like retreat kind of meeting next month.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
So
think
maybe
that'll
they
time
keep
well
this
for our next meeting then.
Yeah, then I'm thinking maybe the liaison that works with the mental health liaison that works with the police department. What is
Oh,
her?
yeah, Amy, right? She did come once before.
Yeah, they had
And
a-
Bruce was a good idea too,
Or
because
Bruce.
you have a different point of view than Amy.
Yeah,
And if we couldn't do Amy, maybe somebody from the rescue squad.
well, rescue squad would be a good one.
Um,
So just trying to think of ways to use this meeting so that
Mhm.
it's not just us trying to figure out what we're trying to do.
and if-
Yeah, I think to that point, Darla, I was thinking about, there are so many organizations serving folks in so many different ways. That we probably don't need to reinvent that wheel, but figuring out how to support them or how
Mhm.
to support the select board as they're thinking about townwide um initiatives
Mhm.
seems important.
Yeah.
Can we all connect A and B together rather than creating?
Yeah. Right.
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 And if it's of interest, in January each year, the office that I work for creates a data report. It's statewide data and then it's broken down by county as well. And I'd be happy to share some of that data. It's, it's all about, what's happening for kids and families. So it's how many kids are in custody, how many, what are the reading scores in the region? So those kinds of things. So I'm happy to share that in January, February, if that's something that might be of interest. There's a whole report that talks about trends we're seeing statewide, but then it does boil it down to what's happening within each county as well. So it doesn't get as minute as Bristol specific, but it does give you some good information.
I wonder if like that would be interesting, like if we invited, we said to the community, like, come, this month at the equity committee meeting, we'll be hearing a bit about,
Sort
what's
of
happening.
a way to do it.
What's that? What's
Sort
that?
of a door recruitment way.
Just to get
Yeah.
more-
Right, and also
So-
just letting our community members know, like, one of the things we're gonna do is hear from, I mean, that could be kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah. And that sort of lends itself to one of the things we were saying, like having community conversations. That was one of the
Perfect,
recommendations
yeah.
we were making. So
Right, yeah,
fill that recommendation for the board, they wouldn't have to find a way to do it necessarily.
right.
Okay.
Well, you're
That
on
was-
deck for January, darling.
Cause you all want to know about kids and families, right?
Yes, yes. I just heard Morgan Crossman on, was it the
Oh,
other
Vermont.
day? Yeah,
Vermont yesterday, yep. And
yeah, she
Amy,
did a great job.
yeah, she's a very good speaker
She's a
That's-
great speaker.
for our organization. She's on Vermont Edition this week.
If anyone wants to come to the library on Thursday, October 1st, and talk about local media and how you feel about the news that you can access in Vermont, I'm facilitating a listening session for the Vermont Community Foundation. And if you participate, you get a $50 gift card and pizza. So think about it, sign up. What's
Food and
that?
money at the table.
What day?
Yeah.
What day is it?
So the Vermont Community Foundation is hosting the Vermont chapter of a nationwide initiative called Press Forward. And the goal of Press Forward is to really look at civic engagement and local media and ways to support and sustain local media. So Vermont Community Foundation does a lot of, grant giving and also fundraising. And so they're doing a whole kind of analysis of the media landscape in Vermont to help inform their own gift and grant giving to different news organizations, but also to help with different news and media outlets to think about how to strategically plan for the future, considering that people get news in so many different ways. You know, if you're under 30, I think it's on TikTok. And if you're, our generation, it's and above, maybe it's, the Addison Independent or VPR, and then everything in between. And so, a lot of local newsrooms are closing, and um, it's a really hard climate for folks to find ways to provide access to local news and information. So part of that, like, analysis is these listening sessions that we're doing across the state. And the Lawrence Memorial Library is going to host one on October 1st. If you get their newsletter, they just put something out about it. And I'm working with them to facilitate the conversation,
So
to just really hear what people think about, do you trust the news you're getting? What could be better about it?
Are you aware there's a local radio station starting up?
It's funny, I just actually saw that posted on Front Porch Forum and I was not aware. So that's pretty great. And there's like a Kickstarter campaign for it, I think, right?
It's online already,
Yeah.
but
Local
they're
radio station.
Yeah.
looking to build it up to
Yeah.
actually over the airways. So I wonder if anyone from that will participate in that conversation.
Yeah,
I was
that'd be great.
in town next week to do that. So,
Yeah.
okay.
I think that's it.
Anything else? Are we ready to call an adjournment then?
let's see. I stole our information sharing thing from, I don't know who started it, but for the state health improvement plan, we have a regular monthly meeting, and they're trying to do some camaraderie, team building, and also build some, it's kind of depressing doing some of that work sometimes. So I suggested, using copying what we, use, the information sharing personally, but also share victories of things that, successes you've had and whatnot, so that, hey, we're getting some wins somewhere. The other thing I was going to mention is I'm doing a for hireability, formerly of Voc Rehab. They're having some sort of retreat that they're part of next week, and they've asked me to go in and be a speaker. So I'll be doing that remotely.
Nice.
Great.
I don't think I have anything. Just wanted to say, Brian, the event the other night on the park was really nice.
Mhm.
That turned out pretty
Agreed.
good. They had
Yeah.
handed it over to
Housing.
they just recently hired a and does all the social media coordination, but also fundraising events and whatnot. She's only been on the job for like 3 months, but she managed to pull it off and pull it all together. So
That's impressive.
Yeah.
it's funny that I saw the only person I didn't talk to was Porter. I saw her there.
Mhm.
Like, I think we counted it was Krista was joking that we should count that as an official meeting of the
Yep.
At one point or another, I think.
Yeah, I saw her walking in just as I was headed out from it. Yeah.
Yeah, the only other thing I want to put on our radar, that will probably come up as an issue for local folks. And pretty much everybody, as the health insurance tax credit goes away this year, we're looking at, the possibility of health insurance almost doubling, not just in Vermont, but across the country. So that may be an issue that comes up for local people that we might hear about. So just to have that in the back of our mind. Affordability.
The subsidy for the Affordable Care Act plans, right? Is that what you're talking about, Darla?
Yep.
Yeah, they're pulling their hair out. I'm on the beneficiary advisory committee for Medicaid, and I've sat in a couple meetings. Medicaid and Exchange Advisory Committee, that so I get to interact almost twice a month with the commissioner of DEVA, and they're pulling their hair out with all the regulation changes and whatnot and funding losses. They're really scrambling to try and figure out what to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a hot topic at a lot of the tables that I sit at lately. A lot of families are very concerned how they're gonna be able to put food on the table and afford healthcare. So I'm thinking of some of the responses to the survey we just got. I think that we'll hear
Health
more.
services are worried too, because it pushes more people to not get any kind of primary care or preventative care. Or
Until
even
something
just urgent
serious,
care, and it
yeah.
ends up in the ER, which are already overloaded. And with the budget changes for UVM and Porter, they can't even overhaul their ER that desperately needs it.
Right, and then there's stress on healthcare workers and, it just,
Yeah,
it
that's
becomes a bigger and bigger community issue.
Yeah.
It has lots of effects, lots of fingers that go out into the community.
Yeah.
Is it
Since-
going into effect in 2026, like January 1?
I don't know if it's January 1 or if it's like July 1.
Okay.
There's, depending on which, just on my high level understanding of things, there's multiple dates. I've heard some
Yeah.
for beginning of January 2026, then I've heard July 2026, and then I've heard January 2027. So
Yeah,
a bunch of different things that hit at different dates.
yeah. So things we'll want to, be aware of and understand that that's might be a stressor for folks in the
These are
community.
people that
Yeah.
don't pay for Medicaid, but they don't get insurance through their work, so it's
Right,
a very
right.
strict.
So it's a lot of those
Built
folks
into
that are
our
on
system.
Green Mountain Care Plan now, gonna have that available to them, and then the rates are gonna looking at almost doubling as across the
Just a
board.
very strict built into our healthcare system. It doesn't make any sense to me, but
So healthcare equity, there's another one.
yeah, and that might be a good one to, if we can find some resources to at least make people aware of.
Yeah,
um, what's actually in the community, and then where can they go when they need to find the additional help.
Mm-hmm.
maybe at some point getting someone from Open Door Clinic might be a good idea to come in too.
I don't know
Open Door Clinic is a free clinic in Middlebury.
that. Okay,
They've been there for a number of years and they deal with the folks that are uninsured. They have Spanish speakers on staff. They
Oh, yes.
they use
Okay.
a lot of the migrant, they have a huge migrant health, piece. They also have a
Mhm.
mobile unit that goes out to folks who aren't able to come in for whatever reason.
yeah,
So, although they are really hard to get to a meeting because they're out doing the work all the time, but
Mhm.
if to see an evening meeting might be easier to hear from them. And I know there are people from Bristol that,
we just need a
Better
healthcare
service
evening
then.
for one of our meetings then.
yeah, it might be
Yeah.
like a panel discussion might be really
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. That's,
Because Mountain Community Health and the other FUHCs also accept uninsured, but they're all struggling with their funding, so.
right.
The more people that have uninsured, the more they're gonna struggle with their funding.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So things to think about. We've got
Yeah.
plenty of equity issues on the table, that we can about and inform our community about. So.
Yeah.
Great. All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all. Good to see you.
Adjourned. Have a good night.